The following is a presentation of the Women's Football Alliance.
We are down to the final 3 weeks of the regular season, and the Pro Division teams are fighting for playoff contention. Welcome to Week 6 on the road to Canton. Welcome to another week of Road to Canton. I'm Brian Sweeney, the voice of the Women's Football Alliance Pro Division National Championship game. No one can argue that the 11 teams in the Pro Division, any one of them could win the national championship. And this week, we had yet another come-from-behind victory. Here's the scores and highlights from Week 5. The Detroit Venom moved to 500 on the season with a 21-6 win over the now 0-3 Columbus Chaos. The Dallas Elite Mustangs wanted to get to 500 themselves, but fell short when they lost 27-7 to the now 4-0 OKC Lady Force. And in WFA Pro head-to-head games, the Tampa Bay Inferno moved to 3-1 on the season, and in doing so put the DC Divas to 500, final score 21-0. After losing a heartbreaker last weekend, the Minnesota Vixen bounced back strong and gave the previously unbeaten Arlington Impact their first loss of the season by a final score of 42-26. Last week, the Nevada Storm stunned the Minnesota Vixen when they came back in the fourth after being down by 20 points to win. This week, it was another amazing comeback, but Nevada found themselves on the opposite side, and it was the Cali War that mounted the come-from-behind fourth quarter victory to beat the Storm 54-52. And in the game of the week, the Pittsburgh Passion traveled to Boston for what some were hoping would be a turning point in the National Conference standings. In the end, however, it was the Renegades with a 46-8 victory, and in doing so gave the Passion their first loss of the year. Alex Westhead breaks down the Passion Renegades game.
The Week 5 Game of the Week matchup in the WFA's Pro Division featured a return to a playoff matchup from the 2019 season, as the Pittsburgh Passion traveled to Revere, Massachusetts to take on the Boston Renegades. Boston Renegades were successful, scoring on every first drive that they had in the first half of play. The scoring started by an 11-yard rushing touchdown by Ruth Mata with an extra point that made it 7-0. That was the score at the end of the first quarter of play. In the second quarter, Allison Cahill, 7 yards out, a rushing touchdown, gave the Boston Renegades a 14-0 lead. Ruth Mata would find the end zone once more on the exact same play from 11 yards out. This time, however, the kick was no good. It was then 20-0 Boston. Then the first passing touchdown of the day as Allison Cahill found wide receiver Renate Meckel from 36 yards out. The extra point there gave Boston a 27-0 lead at the end of the first half. There was no scoring throughout much of the third quarter. However, on Boston's last drive of that third quarter, Allison Cahill kept the ball herself from 4 yards out for a rushing touchdown. The point after try was no good, 33-0 Boston. The Pittsburgh Passion would find the end zone in the late stages of that third quarter. Maria Fatale from 1 yard out, a 2-point conversion from Alyssa George to Jan Meister was completed for it to be 33-8 at the end of the third quarter. The Renegades would tack on one more touchdown from Ruth Mata from 5 yards out with an Ali Guimares extra point. That was good. The final score in this contest, 46-8, the Boston Renegades defeated the Pittsburgh Passion in their first matchup since the 2019 season.
Brandy J is back this week to introduce us to another WFA athlete in her segment, Under Her Helmet.
I'm going to be having a great interview with Mo, the quarterback from Nevada Storm. Let everyone know, when did you start playing football?
I started playing football, this is my 5th year playing.
Okay.
Yep. And I think COVID, though, we didn't play that 1 year. But
Yeah,
and I started out playing as a corner and a wide receiver.
Oh, okay.
Second year in, I became the quarterback.
Oh, okay. So what made you decide to say, this is what I want to do? And did you play football in your younger years as a kid growing up?
I played with the boys at recess and just pickup type of games. I never actually got to play football. I played basketball, softball. I played through college, track, all that kind of stuff. And then I got out of college. I played slow pitch for a while. I love sports, super competitive. And that was cool, but it's just not, nitty gritty. And so it was crazy. I was at a restaurant one day and I ran into somebody I knew, and they came up to me and was like, "You should play football. We have a women's football team." I was like, "No way, that's crazy." Like, you know. And I think a few months went by, and for some reason it popped up in my head, and I Googled it, and they had a tryout that weekend.
Oh, wow. That was fate.
Yeah, and I showed up, and boom, then I started playing.
But it's really crazy how even now a lot of people don't know about women's football. So what do you think needs to be done to get the word out more so the WFA can be on that same level as far as brand awareness and fans?
I think it's just more consistency in playing, and teams staying around and staying consistent in like their city or their state or whatever that is, and us just pushing it.
Yeah.
I think the players with social media now, I think that helps so much, because we put so much out there and we can really make it what we want it to be. It just takes a little more grind, I think.
So how did your family react when you said, "This is what I want to do"? What was their like reaction to you playing professional football?
They were like, we don't want you to get hurt. They weren't against it, but they were a little reserved.
Okay.
More my stepdad, my mom was all about it.
It's always the mama who's like, "Yeah, but don't get hurt, baby, don't get hurt."
Right. Yes, exactly. My stepdad was a little bit like, "Are you sure you're not the youngest in football? You're kind of smaller." And I'm like,
so well, that's really good. You have the support of your family and your community that's really saying, "Hey, this is what we need to be doing and supporting." So what struggles did you have to go through to get to where you are right now in life in general?
Well, I think life is a lot for anyone. We all have struggles. We all have traumas. We all have hardships to get through. And I think for me, sports was the way to get through everything. And it taught me so much in life about pushing through and being strong and persevering and not giving up. And so I think that transfers over to your personal life and your work life and any other that you are in, you know? So I would just say that, like sports have pushed me through everything.
I think we all had those challenges, especially during COVID, when we couldn't do anything. How did you keep your mental health in check when it was like when COVID first hit? Like we all thought we'll be back in 2 weeks.
For me, I was outside a lot. I exercised a lot. I got a bicycle and I was riding my bicycle every day.
Well, that's good. I'm happy we got the chance, because this, I love doing, like I said, doing this segment because I get to know you guys on a different, level, and does everyone else. So God really puts people here to change lives. You want your legacy to affect generations, no matter what. It doesn't have to be music. It can be whatever you want it to be, but just do good in the world and have a long-lasting impact. And that is what you guys are doing for women's football. You guys are showing young girls that you can do this, no matter what people said you can't or things like that. Don't let people tell you what you can't do because you're a girl. Like, no, and you do this and you do that. And it's just something that what you guys are doing, you're showing the younger generation and young girls out, they can do this and we can do that. What is your hope for the WFA in the future?
That's really my hope, is that it just becomes big enough that women and girls can do that. I'm older. I'm playing for that purpose. I'm playing because I love playing sports, and I never got the opportunity as a kid to do it. And I love that I get that ability. But my true goal in this is, like you said, so that these young girls know, hey, we can do this.
Yeah.
It's great in Reno and our community, and I have a few girl cousins, and they're young, and they're like, whoa, you're playing football, and it's just like, oh, cool, we can do this too if we really want to. I don't care what you want to do, but nothing should have to stop you,
Yeah. And that's amazing. You can do it all. So I want to thank you, Mo. This has been a great interview. I'm so excited to actually, meet you. Because I'm going to be like, you better go see the Tupac exhibit if it's still going. And we got to talk about it on Saturday. So
then I can tell you all about it.
I know. But I really appreciate you taking the time to be on Under Her Helmet. Make sure you guys follow the Nevada Storm and their schedule. They'll be out here this weekend against, my favorite team, the Cali Warriors. It's okay. We're friends here. But on the football field, we're not friends, Mo. Just letting you know that. But But thank you so much, and we'll see you guys next time.
Last week, the WFA lost one of their own. Kiera Mayweather of Division III's Houston Power. Whether she was rushing the ball, making tackles, or returning a kickoff, Kiera, or Keek as she was known, was a valuable teammate and friend. The Women's Football Alliance wants to thank their sponsors, KT Tape, Coors Light, Wilson, Aid Nation, Zenith, Hall of Fame Resort and Entertainment Company, Secret, and the NFL Alumni Academy. Thank you for your support of the Women's Football Alliance. Welcome back. With only 3 weeks remaining before the playoffs begin, every single game is valuable for playoff seeding. Here are the Week 6 Pro Division matchups. The 2-2 Detroit Venom look to finish out their home schedule with a win when they welcome the 1-2 Derby City Dynamite of Division II. Both teams need a win to stay in the playoff hunt in their respective divisions. The 2-1 Nevada Storm are on the road again this week, and after their stunning loss last week, they are looking for redemption when they play the 2-2 Portland Fighting Shockwave of Division II. Nevada is looking for Pro Division home field advantage, whereas Portland is looking to stay in the playoff hunt. The 1-1 Pittsburgh Passion are on the road again this week as well, this time when they travel to play the 0-3 Columbus Chaos of Division II. Columbus needs the win to prevent missing the playoffs, and a win for Pittsburgh could move them into second place in their conference. The 3-1 Tampa Bay Inferno are also on the road when they travel across Florida to play the 0-1 Daytona Wave Runners of the new developmental division. And in head-to-head Pro Division games, the 4-0 Boston Renegades are on their furthest trip west when they travel to St. Louis to take on the 2-1 St. Louis Slam. For Boston, this could be their last road trip of the season other than to the championship game itself in Canton. For St. Louis, they need a win, or they may be watching the playoffs this year instead of competing in them. And in the game of the week, the only remaining undefeated team in the American Conference, the 4-0 Cali War, travel to Arlington to play the 3-1 Impact. Cali is also looking to win for home field advantage, and Arlington is looking to win to stay in the playoff hunt. Minnesota, Dallas, and DC are all on byes this week. Alex Westhead is back to break down the Cali War Arlington Impact game.
The WFA Pro Division Game of the Week in week number 6 features a return to the American Conference and a matchup with huge playoff implications, as the American Conference leading Cali War will travel east to take on the Arlington Impact in Arlington, Texas on Saturday. When we take a look at these two teams, they're led by spectacular offenses. The WFA Pro Division leading Cali War's offense averages 479 yards per game and is second in the league in scoring at 50 points per game. The Arlington Impact are similar. They have the offensive yards per game averaging 394.3 yards per game, but their points haven't necessarily resulted with that, averaging 33.5 points per game, but for 7th in the WFA Pro Division. This matchup will revolve around its quarterbacks, as the Cali War under head coach Jeff King entered this contest with a record of 4-0. They were victorious their last time out in their fierce rivalry contest and first WFA Pro Division game this season, a 54-52 victory at home against the Nevada Storm. It was also their last home contest this season, as they'll conclude on the road at Arlington in this matchup, and then in Week 7 at Nevada for their final 2 contests. Their quarterback is a familiar face to fans of the WFA. It's Chantel Nino-Wiggins, whose 595 yards and completion percentage of 61.4 this season is very spectacular. Even more so, her passer rating, 144.9. Considering that perfect is 158.3, she's had a spectacular season. 8 touchdowns, no interceptions. In fact, no Cali War quarterback this season has thrown an interception as of yet. On the ground, they're led by number 21, Nori Washington, whose 23 carries and 144 yards lead the ground game for the Cali War. However, Washington does not yet have a touchdown. That leader for Cali is Brianna Barrett, number 16, with her 4 carries, 66 yards. 50% efficiency when carrying the ball for resulting in a touchdown is not that bad a statistic. The receivers for the Cali War are terrific. They have 3 receivers over 150 yards this season. They're led by number 1, Claude, with 6 receiving touchdowns this season. Barrett has 6 receiving touchdowns as well, and Keelan Wilson has 4 receiving touchdowns. No other Cali War receiver has a touchdown this season, but when you have 3 with 4 or more, you're going to be doing quite all right on the offensive side. Cali War has 3 shutouts on this season. In fact, the only time that they've given up points so far this year was their Week 5 matchup against the Nevada Storm. They're led defensively by number 22, Jamie Robinson, who has 22 combined tackles, all solo this season. Really nice stuff on the defensive side. In fact, 3 Cali War tacklers have more than 20 tackles this season, and 6 have more than 15. They're defensively sound, and you know that when you're lining up them on the offensive side of the football, you know exactly who's going to be there to try to bring you down. On the sack side of things, they're led by number 59, Sabrina Kessler, with 3 sacks in the season, and Chardonnay Jenkins has 2 as well to lead the Cali War defense. This is a team, once more, with those 3 shutouts already this season. They are defensively stout, and when you have the air raid attack that Nino Wiggins can provide, it's going to be a tough matchup. Contrasting, the Arlington Impact in this season under head coach Jimmy Hughes. In his first season, he was the defensive coordinator last season for the Arlington Impact. They have had a number of good performances defensively, limiting 2 opponents of their 4 to under 1 touchdown. They're 3-1 on the season. They started on a 3-game winning streak at Austin, at Houston, and then home to Dallas, and concluded their road schedule last week with a 42-26 loss at the Minnesota Vixen. They're led by quarterback number 8, D'Angelo Ricks, who admittedly Ricks struggled in the 2021 season to pass the football, but heated up in the playoffs. She would then continue to improve as time went by and did a really nice job over the course of this regular season. She has more yards than she had in the 2021 season at the halfway point. She has a higher completion percentage. She has more touchdowns. She has more completions in general. D'Angelo Ricks has taken her role as quarterback of the Arlington Impact seriously, and she's really improved this season. But the focus for the Arlington Impact remains the ground game. Between former track star Tara Thomas, Ken Gabriel, and Kariah Williams, this is a team that if they are going to beat you, they will beat you through the ground. They're led by American Conference leader in total rushing touchdowns, Ken Gabriel, who has 6 rushing touchdowns on 28 carries this season. But the focus point of this offense remains Tara Thomas, a track star at Texas Tech University and the University of Miami. She has 326 yards on the ground this season, but also leads the team in receiving, 6 receptions, 114 yards, and 1 touchdown. Focusing on the defensive side of the ball for the Arlington Impact, there's one player who wears number 1 that I'd like to focus on. It's Tito Young. We talk about Texas League football. Tito Young is the leader in that category. 32.5 tackles this season, 4 of which were for loss. You also have to talk about Sharice Blackshirt, 9 tackles for loss of 19 total tackles this season, and Epiphany Ross, one of the team leaders in sacks. In fact, if we take a look at this Arlington Impact defense, there are 3 Arlington Impact players with 2 or more sacks this season: Reese Green, Epiphany Ross, and Sasha Gomez. Beyond those 3, there's 4 other Arlington Impact players with 1 tackle. They do a really good job on the defensive side of the ball, and Jimmy Hughes has to be happy with his team's effort through the first 4 weeks of the season. For me, this matchup will go to the quarterback play. Chantel Nino Wiggins is arguably the best quarterback in the American Conference. She is, to the American Conference, what quarterback Allison Cahill of the Boston Renegades is to the National Conference. She is elite. She is certainly one of the best players in the WFA Pro Division and in the WFA as a whole. She has the ability to take over and control a football game. Arlington will need to get pressure to her early. Tito Young, Epiphany Ross, and Sharice Blackshirt should be able to play a significant role in getting Nino Wiggins off of her game. But for the Arlington Impact, they need D'Angelo Ricks to not only play a perfect game, but to play a significant role in the game. They need to get passing the ball early, because what they did in their matchup against Minnesota last week is they did not pass the ball more frequently until it was the late stages of the 3rd quarter, and at that point the game was out of reach. They have to pass the ball sooner. They have to pass the ball quicker. When we take a look at what the Massey ratings have to say in this one, if we take a look at the previous matchups, the Cali War lead the all-time season series by a score of 2-0. Both of those contests playoff matchup. Cali War victorious in 2019 at 30-6 and victorious in 2021 at 20-12. That is what led Cali War to the conference championship game, where they fell to the Minnesota Vixen in a very tightly contested matchup. If we take a look at what the Massey ratings suggest about how this contest will go, it gives the Los Angeles area team, the Cali War, a slight favorite, as it believes the most likely score is 37-28 in favor of the Cali War. It says that about 62% of the time the Cali War would win. But for the Arlington Impact, that 37% chance is all they need. Arlington will need this opportunity to stay afloat in the playoff rating, holding on to that 4th spot, as teams in St. Louis and perhaps in Dallas are looking for them to falter against the Cali War to have an opportunity to jump into the playoffs. For some more comments on what the playoffs might look like, here's Brian Sweeney.
The competition is tight right now, and the teams are looking for playoff order. Here's where they would stand if the playoffs started this week. The National Conference would have number 3 Pittsburgh playing at number 2 DC and number 4 Tampa at number 1 Boston. And in the American Conference, number 3 Nevada would be at number 2 Minnesota, and number 4 Arlington would be at number 1 Cali. Of course, with 3 weeks left to play, Dallas, Detroit, and St. Louis are all still hoping to make the postseason. We'll be right back. The Women's Football Alliance wants to thank their sponsors, KT Tape, Coors Light, Wilson, Aid Nation, Zenith, Hall of Fame Resort and Entertainment Company, Secret, and the NFL Alumni Academy. Thank you for your support of the Women's Football Alliance. Welcome back. Last week we learned that Lois Cook can be replaced by her cute kids. Here's her segment, Low on the Go.
Do you have any words of encouragement?
Not really.
Leave it all on the field. Play every play like it's your last.
Oh, that's a little high.
Okay, so what happened to everything I just recorded? I have no idea. Hey.
Let's start from the top.
You're gonna see me here in rare form, in full gear. Yeah, that's rare form. Somebody told me there's a 14-story building that needs to see me. I'm gonna go climb down it. Ready to repel. And I'm taking you with me.
Near it over the edge, we take absolutely no chances.
Here at Low on the Go, we take them all.
Good morning, traffic. Traffic is flowing today, and it's looking great. Lois.
All right, have a great day.
Okay. Oh, here we go. A team, together. DC, pride, diva, pride.
Is coming down from the DC Divas. Lois Cook coming down from the DC Divas.
Our house.
In full uniform, look at that.
Hi, Rope, how are you? We've got blue and orange. What do you think about women's football? It's great, isn't it?
Here comes Lois and Sandy.
Oh, girl, how you doing?
Our yellow dress.
Nice job. Oh. Oh.
Got it? All right, y'all clear.
It was so exciting to see Jamie Nicholas, a former player of the Divas.
Oh, yeah.
Also greeted by Jan Sacharko, the mastermind behind this whole thing.
You know, that was some really good workout for my hands. When the ball comes out the grip, you first get on the ledge. You gotta step up on the ledge, it gets real. Then you're having a moment. You gotta make a life decision. Are you going down or are you gonna back away? Leave it all on the field. So we gotta go down.
Okay, so I have Sandy with me.
I'm with Keller Williams, so I'm a realtor. I was here to support New Hope Housing, and I did go down the wall next to you.
Well, how did it feel going down the wall?
Woo! Exhilarating, a little scary. I think I held my breath a little bit. Do it again now. I would do it again.
Yeah. Will you go faster next time, or you went really fast?
I don't think I knew I was going fast. I think that had nothing to do with my control. That was just, I don't know.
What did you think about this overall event and what the whole purpose of the event is to raise awareness for homelessness? What do you think about that? And repelling to do that?
Well, yeah, they just gave us something to do besides just raise money, which was good. A lot of Keller Williams agents that are out that did the repelling, so we're all here in camaraderie to help each other, and which was fun.
You're almost like a whole football team.
We are. Yes, we are. Yes.
We're an indoor rock climbing, yoga, and fitness facility. We're doing a bunch of things. We got a modified tug of war.
Y'all know the
How far you
Let me
going?
hear you sing.
And we've got this little bosu partner toss.
You can be louder.
And involves balance, coordination, and flexibility. I think it'd be a good challenge to see how much we can do together. Yeah.
Okay, I'm in. You know I don't back down from the challenge. Let's do it.
All right, here we go.
Such a fun event. Thank you to New Hope Housing for organizing, and I'm out. I made it. Yay!
First of all, I didn't just go down the wall to go down the wall. I did this to help raise awareness for homelessness. New Hope Housing and Over the Edge are organizations that partner together to do just that. And I wanted to share this with you because the athletes of the WFA don't just play football. They also love to give back and to be a positive impact in our communities. There are tons of ways that we do that, and I'll share with you just a few. And when I'm done, if you're able, I hope that you'll find a WFA team near you and help support some of those causes.
We are getting closer and closer to playoff football, and each game played can lengthen or shorten a team season. For Brandy J, Lois Cook, Alex Wested, I'm Brian Sweeney, and we'll see you next week on the road to Canton.
Thank you for watching the preceding presentation from the Women's Football Alliance.